ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's your host, OG Molly Mall, Khalil Almighty, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Almighty Show. As always, you all, Women's History Month. We have to celebrate the women. And who better else to celebrate than none other than our very good friend, Miss Tylarrah Cunningham. How are you doing?
I am doing great and happy to be here finally on the show. It's been a work in progress for me.
Oh yeah, for sure, most definitely.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming on here. I feel like it's been a while since we were able to, catch up, things of that nature. So many things have changed since the last time we was able to just stop and talk or whatnot. What's been some interesting stuff or some exciting stuff that's been going on for you?
I'm not going to say that my career isn't exciting, but I feel like my career is like my number one thing. So I passed the NCLEX on the first try, thank God. Was able to land a job in the career that I wanted, with great advancement. We'll talk more about that with our questions. There's some exciting things with that that I'm going to share, but just navigating adulthood, I feel like is the most exciting thing. Trying to find myself outside of college life and academics. So I feel like that's exciting as well. Being able to come back and move to Kansas City, be with my family. That is really nice. I have 3 brothers, 15, 9, and 3 that are my absolute world. And it's been nice to be back with them. And then my mom, of course, getting to just be free, I guess, travel, experience, and have time to, really see what it is that I want, out of this life. Actually having time to think and do that, because I feel like being in school, you're so focused on making it out.
That's the only thing on your mind.
Yeah, that's the only thing on your mind. And if you, are fortunate or unfortunate, I don't think anyone's unfortunate, but some people have different experiences that can be unfortunate that they, grow through and go through. That kind of, being outside of it allows them to have a breath of fresh air. And I'm definitely one of those people, in my fair opinion. Because it was rough sometimes, and I didn't think that I was going to make it through. Y'all know.
I don't know why.
Man.
I mean, I had the hustle, but there was days I definitely
for everybody that don't know. For everybody that don't know, this is Miss 4.0 in the flesh, bro.
Oh my
real
goodness.
life. Like real life.
She had a B midterm, itching to get that A automatically. If she had a B.
Man.
I mean, it was working them jobs that was the problem. COVID. If COVID never happened to us.
Hey, no cap.
Freshman year meeting y'all, remember that like it was yesterday, for real. I can't believe it's 2025. What do you mean we started college in 2019?
Yes.
You did not have to say that.
Yes.
I'm just trying to put it into perspective for you. That's it. That's all. I'm about to be 24.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, how old are you?
18.
I'm 24 right now, man. What are you trying to say? Actually, hold on. How old are you?
Bro, I'm like 22, bro.
What?
I'm like 22.
22 is crazy.
I don't want to need a birth certificate after this.
22 is crazy.
22,
yeah,
23,
he's a youngin.
24, one of those,
Nah.
He's 20-something.
He's
20-something. I'm in the 20s.
Okay.
But nah, you said a couple things, Tyler. One of them being back in KC. How's that feel? I know you were debating a couple other cities.
Oh yeah.
What gave you the final push to say, let's go back to KC. Let's go get some Gates,
Man, Gates.
That you didn't like, Khalil.
Don't nobody like it.
No way.
Now, being back in Kansas City, what gave me the final push was that when I originally applied for my job and I got it, they had assigned me a mentor, and I was asking for advice because they do have my hospital system in different states.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, because I love Chicago, that they have one in Chicago. I'm like, I could go to Chicago, or they have one in Texas. I can go to Texas. They have one in Florida, all these different places. But they were like, your first year is going to be your toughest year because nursing school doesn't teach you anything about being a nurse. And that is true.
Mm.
Passing the NCLEX, yes, but being a nurse, not even close. As someone who has had previous healthcare experience since I was in high school, I think I started when I was 17. This was a curve that I
Really?
was not prepared for. Yeah, being solely responsible for people's lives, and in my case, moms and their babies, having to know about moms and then having to know about babies. As a childless woman who is 23, African American, I'm one of the youngest on my unit, one of the only people of color or person of color on my unit. It's very hard, very hard.
Jeez. So
for many reasons, So I was just like, go ahead.
Oh no, you can keep going. I was gonna ask another question. I'll wait.
Okay, so for many reasons, it's very hard, and I knew that I was going to need the support of my family. Period. Going away, starting over fresh, navigating post grad life, learning how to be a nurse, learning how to be a different friend, contacting people, texting people, because we do thrive for those relationships, even if we don't talk often, it's always good to connect, with your people. But sometimes I find it harder, especially if we have different schedules. Some people are still in school. Some people went back to school. Some people are getting married and having kids.
Back.
So it's just all these things that were, and I'm like, man, and I'm still young, and I thought I knew myself. And then it's like a new layer every day. So I was just like, yeah, let me stay home, to get my feet on the ground. Don't try to navigate living in a whole different place that you've never, resided in before. Come back home, get grounded, and then branch out. So
that's a
bar.
really solid foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good way of thinking too,
I agree.
One thing that you did mention was you being the youngest on your unit, a woman, an African American woman at that, being one of the only people of color on your team. How is it trying to navigate this field, being a minority, being an African American woman, being one of the only people of colors, on your team?
Oof. It's hard. It's hard because in nursing school, we were also outnumbered greatly at Mizzou. We know how Mizzou gets down.
Yeah.
We don't need to go over that. But they will tell you, oh, you should start in med surg, which is more like a general, nursing area with patients who need, everything basically under the sun. You never know what you're going to get. It's med surg. And then they say, oh, they really don't hire people of your kind in your specialty. And that is true. That's why I am among very few just in my whole entire tower. We have some other Mizzou alums who are there, but they don't even have Mizzou alums who really apply either to my hospital. They're like, yeah, we do not get many of y'all at all, let alone Black. And hearing that before you even get somewhere is very discouraging, because did I really think that they were going to hire me? Probably not. When you go up on the floor and you see everybody and the age range, they have kids, and then you're Black, you're young. And I'm not the type of person to, I guess, water down who I am to fit into certain spaces. I definitely feel like I don't fit into that space, but that doesn't mean that I cannot be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I won't let, what people say dictate the way that I choose to, I guess, carry myself and what I choose to apply to. And this is one of your questions. I'm going to just go ahead and answer it. You said, what started my journey in healthcare? Well, I lost my sister to SIDS at the age of 10. her death anniversary is actually coming up. And my mom went through a horrible time. She was 28 years old, young herself, having to navigate the loss of a child to something so sudden. We put her down to sleep. She was dead by the morning. And it
Sorry
was
for your
horrific.
loss.
Thank you.
All
It
right.
was terrible, you know. And so from that point, I said, you know, I want to be a nurse. I remember in the 8th grade that we had the chance to go to a place here in Kansas City called Herndon Career Center. And you could become a CNA, or you can do welding, you could do just all these different, you know, trade things or whatever. So high school students can basically get their feet wet, see what it is that they want to do when they leave.
That's
And they kind of
amazing.
set you up. Yeah, really amazing. And then they had another program, and it was called Summit Technology Academy, that was in a nearby, you know, suburb area through the University of Central Missouri that you could take. But they allowed you to take nursing courses, and then you had like clinical. Like I was at hospitals and stuff, even in high school, on L&D and postpartum. So that's where I was able to get my experience, and I knew that I wanted to do it because of the loss of my sister, and then my mom and what she went through. And it also fueled me to get my psych minor in public health during my first degree, because I know that I wanted to do something in the postpartum realm. I'm a postpartum nurse now, and this was something that I wanted for myself back in middle school.
I love
So
that. I love that for you. You know,
thank you.
Really
So,
manifesting is an understatement.
right.
man,
And I had a plan, and I had a plan.
you just needed
And
the
I was
platform.
so I cannot let anything like that, you know, what they say, because they gonna talk. People gonna talk regardless, gonna tell you don't deserve to be anywhere. And it's hard because, you know, imposter syndrome can take over, because I felt that way at the beginning. I'm about 6 months in now. I totally felt that way, because I'm like, I don't know anything about being a nurse, let alone being a parent. And I'm talking to parents, and I'm
Right.
23, and they see that I'm Black, and they see that I'm young. And then they will ask me every shift, Ty, do you have kids? And that's such an insensitive question to ask, because what if
That's
I didn't
crazy.
have kids?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So
why is this your business? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
let's get into it. Come here. Do you have
Man.
kids? You don't see me asking about them, right? Why you asking
Yeah.
about
I don't even like to mention it. You know, we know you have a kid because you're here, of course, but I don't know what the journey took for you to get there.
Right.
You know, you don't know what I'm battling with. But you
Yeah.
know that I am here because I'm qualified, and I got here just like everybody else. And that's what I want people, my like colleagues, co-workers, to understand, that you cannot say that someone is more deserving of something over somebody else just because you don't think that they're fit for it. I passed my state boards. There's only one way to get there. Pass your state boards and you get hired. I applied for the open position just like everybody else, and they accepted me. So there's really nothing to talk about.
That's something they just gonna have to deal with.
Oh, for real, for real.
That's just something that you're gonna have to deal with.
For sure.
Yeah, because I'm not going anywhere. It definitely gets hard though, for sure.
So what are some of the things that you had to overcome? Like what are some of the obstacles that you had to overcome?
And I would say in school and just everyday work.
Yeah.
Besides, I'm gonna get one off your plate. Everybody trying to get in your business. That's one thing I can tell you coworkers are gonna do
Regardless.
always.
Yeah.
I'll block them.
Oh, yeah.
People you may know.
No.
Block.
Yeah. For real. So like what are some of the obstacles that that you went through in school versus, everyday now?
So in school, I would definitely say that I had a problem with resting. I worked myself to the bone, down to it where I was some days losing my mind. And, I've been told like, oh, you suffer well, because I would never know. But sometimes, depending on how you're raised, you don't let nobody know that you're really going through something. You don't let nobody know Nathaniel.
Nope.
Okay?
Facts. That's facts.
So even when I would open up about bits and pieces, I just didn't understand that I didn't feel that anyone really understood my pain. You know what I'm saying? Of like what I was going through as a first generation college student who really did not have a blueprint, who was figuring out college, paying rent, trying to, because of COVID, trying to get experience, trying to just, do all these things and juggle all these things at such a young age, because, my first degree, I ended up graduating in 3.5 years. And although it's not, significant, one more semester, I would have, been at 4, but what it took to get there, because sophomore year, I want to say fall semester, I lost my grandfather. Horrible. It was horrible, 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 really broke me down. And then I was denied from nursing school the first time. And I couldn't finish that semester. I wanted to drop out. Flash, I went to the psych ward. Yes. And I'm okay with saying that, because people will be like, oh, they think that it looks good because of what they see on social media, but there's not like enough realism. When I say I went to psych ward, I wasn't suicidal or nothing like that. But our school did say that I needed some type of intervention if I wanted to stay in school. Like, they made me get a counselor and everything.
Really?
Yes, because what did I do? I had a self-paced class, and I just stopped the self-paced class. I couldn't do it. I couldn't think. I was working too much. I was trying to juggle everything. I was still in NBWY. I had some spiritual things, going on that was, pretty bad. And I was 19 balancing all that. And when I think about it now, it's just like, I wish I could give her a hug, because she was really just trying to do her best. But if I never, got the help that I needed, I would have never. And I'm telling y'all now, like I said, I don't know how I made it through. I finally got my stuff together. Okay. I took full max credits up until I graduated early. And I changed my major. I know.
That's crazy.
18, 9, 18, 9, 18. Because I had switched over to a whole nother major, and I had picked up 2 minors. And I was like, I need to do something that I know is going to help me. But then after I got out of that, little funk, because unfortunately, I come from a family, they're like, oh, go to church and pray about it. And that's fine. Yes, that's cool. That's dandy. But I was isolated. COVID had us all
separated.
We'll see each other when we saw each other, but nothing like freshman year. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't seeing my family. I'm afraid to go home because of COVID. We're hearing all these information. I'm a health major. They want me to get the shot, or I can't stay in school. I took a job as an in-home health caregiver. That was crazy because people were dying.
That's insane.
COVID, older people left and right. I had one of the guys that I took care of, an older man, he died. And it was horrible because I never thought that, I would be building this connection with somebody and then they'll just die because of something that has completely shut down our world. I would have never saw that coming.
Yeah.
So all of those things, I really thought sophomore year was like, I'm not going to make it. Got myself together, did what Mizzou told me to. I had one professor who pushed me to do it the most. She was like, don't let this, whatever you got going on, take you under. You got this. Like, you can get the help that you need. Do what it is that they say, because they want to see that I was trying, because really they were going to say, well, it's either you go on academic, probation, which that's not fun, especially if you don't know how well you're going to do.
Yeah.
Or, you need to potentially consider dropping down to part-time for you to handle that. I can't drop down to part-time if I got a scholarship.
I got a scholarship.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, oh my God, let me get my together. And that's exactly what I did. So overcoming that, when I graduated, in December of 2022, I was happy. But then the real work began, because I knew that Mizzou's nursing school started in May. Usually, I would have graduated May 2023, and I would have started school maybe 10 days later or something like that for nursing school, an accelerated program.
Yeah.
And I knew after everything that I had went through, them max credits, I was out. Money gone. Couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So then I graduated and I came back home. And for that, from January to May, I was working like a dog day and night. 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, 60 hours a day. Back in the quick trip.
You putting up blue collar hours.
Man.
Crazy work. But I said, I have to get to nursing school and I have to focus. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to work the way that I did during undergrad. I worked the whole entire time. First off campus college apartment, I was 19. And I'm like, okay, rent, gas,
Right.
food,
Mm-hmm.
all the different things. Like, I gotta figure it out. Car insurance, like, please, whatever.
Man.
Phone
Yeah.
bill, like,
All that. Oh my
ding,
goodness.
ding, ding. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I can't do that. I came home, paid off my phone. I fixed everything on my car that I could.
Mm-hmm.
I saved up my money. I'm talking penny pinching. If I wasn't at work, I was at home and I wasn't doing nothing crazy. You hear me? So I was able to pay up my rent until November, into my nursing program. So from May to November, my rent was paid. I said,
That's amazing.
if I need a job, I'll get it then. And I ended up getting a job. I got hired November 1st through MU Healthcare as a technician.
Mm.
Worked overnight shifts, will go to class after the overnight shifts.
Mm.
Like, I just had that dog in me
You
because
got
I
that
knew
dog in you.
nobody was
Definitely.
coming to save me, especially financially. I just had to do what I had to do. And when I think about it, like, I be looking at my memories, and I know y'all didn't seen it.
I remember hearing the chronicles of walking in the tunnel to work and all that.
Man, facts.
Oh, yes. So doing all of that, yeah, I definitely had to overcome that. But even though, my story is what it is and a lot of people make sacrifices, I applaud every single body who can make it through college, period.
Because it's a battle regardless.
Because it's a battle regardless. And if it's not with school, if it's not with your family, fighting, it doesn't matter. You chose something, you committed to it, and you were able to stick through it. You were able to do it. No matter how long it took, and no matter what it took to get there. Because when you get there, that feeling when you get there, man,
It's nothing like it.
It's nothing like it because it's like you did it. And then when you're first gen, and you really, some people have the upper hand advantage. I didn't see it. Some stuff about college I didn't even know. Unsubsidized versus a subsidized. Like, I had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
To learn some things, to really understand. I'm looking at them bills like,
this having a
apply for these scholarships. You can get some through your school. Where they at? You apply for that whole list, man. And you maybe get one,
if that,
if you're lucky,
man.
Yeah. I would say the luxury of having your bills paid for, having your school paid for, having
your car paid for, all that,
all of that. I feel like that would be a luxury in school because, like I was balancing that's why I was always RA, so I didn't have to worry about rent and all of that.
Yes, and I tried for that twice. When they didn't pick me, I said, you know what, all right.
Hey, you got to do what I did, make friends with the boss, because
that's what you got to do.
Like, I'm not paying for rent. I'm not trying to deal with that. They're like, Mo, you still in the dorm? Yep, I'm gonna be in my dorm.
Absolutely.
You still paying rent? Oh, okay.
No,
okay, yeah. You gotta take what that one thing that one thing. But for real, you have to get it how you live, and do what's smart. Work smarter, not harder. Especially when you're genuinely trying to make it. You're going to have to do things that you don't want to do in order to get to where you want to
be. Exactly.
That's real.
And I will say, pushing yourself to overcome a big battle like that, it is. I feel like the big thing after that, after you overcame whatever you had to overcome, is not getting comfortable with just saying, okay, I'm good, I made it. It's okay. Yeah. What's the next challenge? What is the next challenge?
Yep.
So that you can push yourself, so that's the high that you're chasing. Overcoming, being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Overcoming, being successful. That's the big challenge. I feel like a lot of people nowadays, after they do fight one battle, they call it,
that's it.
They say that's game.
Yeah.
You just
but
getting
you
in the
gotta
game.
Be hungrier. You just got to. You got to.
A lot of people not hungry.
Or this life will eat you up and it will pass you by.
Yeah.
It genuinely will. So overcoming those things, like, it felt terrible within a moment. It did. But I'm so glad that I did it. But even then, if I was operating off my own strength, I wouldn't have made it. I can tell you that right now. But something was carrying me. We know who was carrying me. Thank God. Because that's the only way that I made it. Because some days I would be like, yeah, I don't know how I got here. When I finally got accepted into nursing school, Mizzou hadn't reached out to me. That's another thing, because I thought I got denied again, which is another thing that I had to overcome, the fear of being denied. Because really I could have applied again during school, like my first degree, but I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do online. I couldn't finish a self-paced class. Self-doubt, not believing in myself. I'd rather, just do something that I know for sure I'm gonna be able to get out of, and I'm going to be okay, and then I can revisit nursing, which I did. But they didn't contact me, and the lady was like, yeah, sorry, we sent it to like the wrong email. I had to message them because I hadn't heard back from the time that they told me that I wasn't. I'm like, I didn't graduate early, did all of this work, and I didn't get in. And I also applied to a master's program. And I really didn't want to go through the master's program. I was just like, that would just be my backup just in case. Just in case I don't get in again, or for whatever reason they don't pick me. And yeah, that's when she told me, and I literally just broke down and cried because I was like, finally a yes. After all this mess and stress, finally a yes. I know that I'm going to nursing school. I'm happy with that. Work, did all the things, went into nursing school. The only thing that I say about nursing school that I had to overcome was self-doubt again. Because in reality, I hadn't taken a in-person test since freshman year.
That's real.
Taking tests in front of other people,
it's
I was
different.
Just in the room.
Oh, me, scan the desk.
Scan the desk, make sure that ain't nothing in there.
Yeah.
And in my own home, I got my blanket right here. I'm chilling. And I was like, okay,
you over there like, if I could freeze time, I would probably go up to ask the professor, whatever. Nah, I feel you with that. In-person test is a hassle compared to online tests.
Being on time, making sure your laptop charge, update. I could just plug my stuff right in on there, and I don't got the thin. Nobody got to see what I look like, but that camera that's checking me. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, okay, this is a little different, but I also noticed that my knowledge as far as in some of the sciences, it had been so long because I had already, applied to nursing school. You have to have 5 of them done to apply to Mizzou's nursing program. So I took them back during COVID time. And here I am in present time having to kind of reteach myself stuff that I learned years ago online that was modified. Whoa.
That's crazy.
Didn't realize how bad it was, especially when it came to anatomy and physiology. Was able to get through that, but it did take a lot of extra work, just a lot of extra studying. With some people in my program, they had recently just taken those classes. They were like, crazy. Oh yeah, I took all my prereqs so I could get into the accelerated nursing program, and they didn't have previous experience with Mizzou's nursing program. We had people from all over, different degrees. We had an accountant in there. We had,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yes, and older people too, 40s and. Yeah, so everyone came from different walks of life, but navigating that and just trying to keep up with the schedule, the pace, restructuring the way that I was as a student in person versus online. Yeah, that was a hurdle. And just being tired. I mean, I was just tired all the time.
Yeah.
If I wasn't at school, if I wasn't at work, and if I wasn't studying, I would sleep. I could show y'all the log from my Apple Watch that told you my average hours of sleep during that time period, 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
On a good night.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I know. And then when I would be at work overnight, I would be up and then I would go straight to class, but I needed money. So it's just we have textbooks we got to pay for. We will travel to nearby areas to teach students, and scrubs. I mean, anything I needed, materials, extra stuff to make sure that I'm like learning okay. Like, oh, please. Like,
That's crazy.
it was crazy.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, made it out. So now we in nursing. We 6 months in. Biggest thing that I've had to overcome, not feeling like I belong, you know, imposter syndrome, and just learning how to be a nurse and to critically think. Because we deal with so many situations, each night is something new. And it's something new with a mom, and it's something new with a baby. So I used to take 8 patients a night, so 4 moms, 4 babies. Now I take 3 moms, 3 babies, thank goodness, because you didn't spend a lot of time in the rooms. But I had to kind of learn about just all the different things. Like I could go into men's detail, but y'all don't need that OB stuff.
Does hold on? Does the reassurance help with the self-doubt? No, I should say not self-doubt, but the imposter syndrome. The reassurance, because I do see that you're getting accolades and all that different stuff, and shout outs and all that stuff.
Yes, it does. It definitely helps, from the patients for sure, because that's where I get those notes from. I would say that my coworkers is probably like my biggest,
maybe hater. Say it, your biggest haters.
My biggest haters.
It's cool.
The culture, working with all women, it's real catty. Women like to talk.
Yeah.
Women like to click up and stuff like that. And it has been very difficult for me. Like I've had, meetings and talks with my manager about stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense, because I'm like telling her, hey, I am significantly younger than some of these women, like less experienced, clearly, don't have no kids. I get that. But if we're all here and we're like a team, we ask questions all the time. Your mind isn't just, you're on to where you're working solely off of what you know. I feel like that's arrogant. That's crazy. I don't know everything. I will not tell you that I do. I need your help. But when I come for you for help, don't be weird, like, oh, you shouldn't be here if you don't know this, or how don't you know this? And because someone somewhere all the time, you have new grad nurses who come in every year, start at ground zero. Unless you just out of your mind to think that you know every little thing because of what you were taught in school, and that you're crazy.
Facts.
You're crazy. And I'm like, I'm not beefing with nobody who's older than my mama.
Yeah.
Like, because in my head, I absolutely can't do it. It just does not register in my head.
That's real.
What I'm saying? So it's like, wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
But some people, they're not each other's speeds, and that's fine. But just the mutual respect of, hey, we work together. We should be able to have a friendly environment. That has been the biggest challenge for me. That can kill you. Morale on a team that you have to work with a lot. I spend 36 hours a week there, sometimes 40. I should be comfortable enough to ask people questions without feeling judged by it, because they think I may not know as much. And that's why, maybe you shouldn't be here, or maybe this is too much for you, because everyone has to start somewhere and at the bottom.
Exactly.
And build your way up. You shouldn't get knocked down for every brick that you build up.
Exactly. And that's what it feels like sometimes. So that's just my biggest thing. And it's just learning who to trust, because my thing is, I feel like I'm a pretty friendly. Yeah, they just talk. They go on your Facebook, Instagram. I literally had a coworker tell me, she was like, yeah, I went through your Facebook and you look just like your mom.
What?
Mind you, she's never said anything to me prior to this day.
What?
I found her, and you know what I did?
Oh yeah. You gotta hit that that BLOCK, man. Like what?
Because what are we talking about right now? What are we talking about? And it's just like, that's the problem with social media, because you don't have to directly talk to a person to know stuff about them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on media. I mean, you can look up anything you want. I mean, I've had patients look me up. I know it. It's crazy what they do. But what people do in general when they want to find out about somebody, but that was my biggest thing, knowing who to trust, because I came in, innocent, open arms, ready for everything. Where's the people? Who can I meet? Who's the person on the floor that that you can go to? I have a mentor. I work with her every third weekend. And we see each other. I text her all the time. I have questions about this. We have leaders and stuff like that, but you don't know who you can trust until you get crossed. And then when you get crossed, at the end of the day, I'm a grown woman. I may be younger than you, less experienced, but you're not gonna play it with me. You know what I'm saying? Not in the work where I feel uncomfortable. Yeah, there's been times where I've had older women, I had one incident that was so bad. She called me out in front of like a whole room of doctors.
Really?
Yeah, in front of other people, in front of students. Like, it was horrifying. Like, the feeling that I had in my chest when that happened, because what you say?
I said he's about to bring that Raytown now. He's about to
man.
Wait. But the feeling that I had in my chest, I was like, there's no way that this is happening right now. And I was just like, there's one thing to want to talk to somebody about something, but it's another to purposely try to humiliate them.
I hate that.
And be loud and wrong
when people be
too.
trying to do that.
And be loud and wrong too. And that's what's crazy. So that's what I'm navigating. Now I will tell them straight up, are you okay today? Did you mean to say it that way? Because that was kind of, rude. Like, are you okay? Do we need to take a moment? I can give you the time that you need.
So we can be here all day.
I'm not dealing with that. I can't police grown adults. We're all grown here.
Facts.
Like, quickly.
That's just crazy. Like you said, I couldn't imagine beefing with people
older than my mother.
Yeah.
It's
so
hard.
2 brackets above my age.
I feel like I go through that a lot. A lot of engineers are older people. Simple as that. A lot of newer engineers are, entering the workforce now. But a lot of companies still have a lot of older engineers. And so the doubt that comes, how do you, who are you, whatever. I'm the youngest person. I'm the youngest engineer at my company. The next one is 29. And so I'm coming in here leading projects on and on and on, doing these presentations. And then the doubt comes out in the questions asked. They're like not cocky, but it's like cocky, arrogant ass questions. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I know what I'm talking about, bro. You go ahead, quiz me, grill me. I'm gonna ask you a question though, because I got some stuff that I know you don't know.
Exactly.
But it's just like it is something, but it makes you stay on your toes. Don't get too comfortable. I make sure I don't get too comfortable with nobody at work. Don't nobody know nothing about my personal business. Nothing like that. Social media, nada. My phone number, no. You gotta have my work number.
Man. Phone number.
Personal, mixing the two. As a young Black professional, woman or man, don't do it.
Ain't do it. Nope.
At all.
Everybody knew I was moving in town, right? Okay. Everybody's like, my boss is like, yeah. He's we doing a workday meeting. He's like, yeah, everybody, we should all go over to Jamal's house, help him, build furniture. I was like, I'm not gonna be home this weekend. I got it. I know how to do all my furniture.
Hey,
well,
French.
It was like we could knock it out in an hour. Nah, I'm good, buddy. I'm all good.
That's crazy. Yeah,
but I do hear a lot about everything that you've overcome, that you overcame, and all that different stuff. Battles are still going on, all the different stuff. But end goal, do you have a final destination that this is where I want to be? And this is what I want to work towards and all the different stuff. And if so, what are the big goals or big positions that you have to go through in order to get to that final destination?
So I'm a postpartum nurse right now. So we're going to talk about educational goals. Educational goals, I do want to go back to get my doctorates. Matter of fact, I'm in the process of applying right now. And I know that people are like, oh, don't go back to school so soon. Don't do this, don't do that. The time is going to pass anyway.
Yep.
And I'm still going to be a nurse, and I'm still going to get my experience, because I'm going to go part-time. I will not go back to school full-time again. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to be able to work and have a life and have balance. So that is my end goal. Always has been women's health, midwife, That is it. So I'm going to be transferring to L&D at the end of this year after I do my, 1 year and some change within my department. Now, L&D, postpartum, NICU, that's all in the same tower. So I'll just be going to a different floor. But that's exciting, to be able to do because that's where I wanted to be. But I knew that the trauma that I had related to the death of my sister, I need to learn how to take care of moms and their babies and see what can go wrong, and how to respond to those situations without fear. My first baby that I had that stopped breathing literally reminded me of what my sister looked like when everything went down. It was absolutely horrifying. And in that moment, I just froze up. I felt like I was 10 all over again. Happened, so many years ago, but it's amazing how certain things and situations can bring you back and how it can make you feel so small. And even though you want to react and do, it's that fear and it's the trauma associated with that. And my job has healed me in ways that I even think that I could be healed. And I feel like now I can finally make that move forward and be able to, go on the other side. As far as being a young adult that is 20 something, goals and dreams and aspirations that I have to live life. That's really it. Live life, get closer to God, be a good sister, friend, all those different things, just be a good person in my life in my day-to-day walk. I don't like to plan my life anymore because you never know what's going to happen.
That's real.
And you can, think about the things, you can work towards them. But as far as like truly planning, I'm just trying to enjoy the season that I am in right now. The only thing that I know for sure that I want to do is go to school. I wish I could buy a house. A lot of different but I don't stress on that because to me, I feel like I've done, a great thing of, graduating from college, getting, myself together. Like I'm very stable right now. The most stable that I have been since I probably left my mama's house.
I love that for you. Yeah.
Because you're underneath your parents' care, so but this is the best that I've been. The only thing that I want to tackle is really finding my life outside of nursing because I just have like these new, I guess, anxieties, like my phone. I carry a phone around at work all the time. Call after call after call, doctor this, baby that, mama this, lab this. And it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so overwhelmed. And then when everybody else is on a separate schedule than me, because I'm a night nurse and they're, sleep when I'm up and I'm sleep when they're up, my social life has kind of
is it out
away. Yeah. Because sometimes I'll even stay on my night shift schedule just so I don't suffer when I'm at work. It's kind of hard to flip back in between the two. Like I got 3 in a row, I'm back in like a day and a half. Like I'm back tomorrow. I got off on Friday morning. And that's usually the most stretch that I'll get.
Okay.
So yeah, I just try to, I guess, do my best in that aspect. See people, reach out to people. I'm definitely a phone call person. Texting me, probably won't even see it half the time. Seriously, it's either I'm at work or I'm sleeping. And I don't try to use my phone as much when I'm at work because that can be a distraction. And time moves by so quick. You're always doing something. You're always doing something in those 12 hours. Passing meds, assessments, reassessing. Babies need 24-hour labs. Mom need labs. You just don't know, especially with 6 different patients because each patient is a different case, even if they come from a mom. My baby might be really small and has to have sugar checks. So just all these different things. And I think about that and then I take it home with me, which isn't good as well, because I'm just thinking about, oh, what could I have done better? Or what is it that I did today that, I didn't know? Like, what did I learn from that? Like, I'm constantly thinking about that because of course you want to be great at what you do and you want to be knowledgeable because not being knowledgeable puts you on the forefront. So I think a lot of like judgment, like I said, from like coworkers all the time. And it's just like try to think about those things constantly. But in order for me to have a well-balanced life, that needs to be left at work. So I need to learn how to manage that. So Those are my biggest things, just living life, not trying to plan too much, still, working towards my goals, just not as, aggressively, I guess, to where it consumes me, just to enjoy where I'm at in the stillness, because I've been through the trenches.
Mm,
Don't get me in the trenches again if I don't have to be. I
that's
just have
real.
to, play it different this time and not have that mentality, because I also feel like when you do have that mentality of hustle, 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 when do you rest? Because hustling can kill. It
That's
really can.
thank you.
Yeah,
Hustling can kill. You have to know both. So I'm prioritizing rest and just living my life.
as you
Yeah.
should. As you
Khalil,
should.
what's your end goal?
For me in my position, like,
Yeah.
well, the end goal is to have my own business, to help other companies, other small businesses with their digital marketing, things of that nature. Whether it's, representing athletes and being like brand partnerships, things of that nature, whether it's representing musical talent, entertainment talent, or even just, like I said, just small orgs. Being able to be the person that people go to for my specific services and
Mm-hmm.
for my connections that I can get them to other people and whatnot, that's more so the end goal for me, you know. And for me, getting to that, um, getting through school, if push comes to shove, getting that MBA, getting into these different agencies, whether it's CAA, WME, or even just stocking up on certifications from Google Analytics, Meta Business Suite, whatever the case may be. Um, I'll say that's my end goal. Just so I'm the biggest thing for me is being independent
Mm.
in everything in life, financially independent, independent from people,
Mentally.
mentally independent, being able to think for myself,
Yeah.
having people, well, not having people I can say is my boss. I don't want people to have control over my time or my autonomy, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? That's my end goal. You know. What about you?
I feel like I got four.
What's now?
Career. First off, some type of principal engineer. Principal engineers are the people, the final people, or the go-to person to solve, whatever problem, whether that's aerospace or cars, but some type of principal engineer. And with that, get my 2 degrees, 2 masters. Um, chasing a dream, like you were saying, have some type of business. I don't know what the business is going to be. I'm thinking it's going to be a catering business. I'm thinking it might be a little diner or something like that. But that's going to be like, a little side hustle, a little side income.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, I want to start a youth, what is it called? Not a youth foundation, but like a youth, what's it,
Program. Like,
program, but I want it built from the ground up. Like
Like a
the
grassroots sort of thing.
nah, not yes and no at the same time. Like how do I want to put it? Let's just say a warehouse, a youth warehouse, okay? For after school, you got different activities, different learning opportunities, all that different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely want to do that for back home in Chicago. And then the fourth one to be a part of and to start that big family, get them broids now.
That's too real. I'm definitely gonna have some little Khalils running around.
Oh
You
God!
know,
yeah.
with my missus. Getting married. I actually want to like get married and have kids. It's
You said
crazy. A
next
lot of
year?
these. Whoa,
Wait,
slow
Whoa.
down.
I
Whoa,
Wait.
thought I heard something, bro.
man, wait. Nah, so I see a lot of times with social media and these celebrities or whatnot, how normalized it is for folks to have kids, then, hope they get married afterwards, or they have kids trying to save a relationship and things of that nature. I don't want that for my kids. I want to be able to marry their mother, for them to be brought into this world with loving parents under a single roof.
Who wanted them, planned for
Who
them.
wanted them, who planned for
Manifested it.
them, invested into them,
I
who
want no
prepared for
whoopsie.
them.
I will
Yeah.
say I would love a family, but as far as love life, because I do have a boyfriend.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
I do have a boyfriend. But like kids, I know is just not for me right now.
Oh
You
yeah.
got,
I
you
don't
got.
know how I would feel safe with them being out here in this world. That's just me. Like that, and that's something I feel like I have to think about. But when I do have children, it will have to be, I don't care if it's not even him, whoever it is. This is the requirement that you commit to me first.
Yeah.
Kid first and then commit. No. Commit to me first. That is the only way that Tylarrah Marie vouched this today.
Stamp it.
Stamp it today. That is the only way that I am having children that are loved, prayed for, and are coming into an environment that is stable.
Yes.
Period, point blank. And let me say this: we did not attend college, beat teen pregnancy, whatever, to make it into our early adulthoods and do us a disservice of being involved with, and this is just my opinion, with someone who we cannot see ourselves, long term with.
Back.
Period. Because
Yeah.
we can do that all by ourselves and no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
But when children get into the mix,
That's
as someone who comes from a broken family,
mm-hmm.
that's when all that stuff got to go out the window. We have to choose wisely. We've made tough decisions before. Keep
Mm-hmm.
making them. Keep doing it until you find that right one. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Blank.
I'll
Even
even,
when it gets hard.
I'll even go as far as to say having that discipline. This is mainly for the
Yes.
guys. Having that discipline, that sexual discipline. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's always gonna be bad. It's not always gonna be baddies around. It's always gonna be baddies around. I'm just keeping it real.
It
Like,
is.
just because you see one don't mean you gotta, do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? And if so, just being protected, Um, those decisions might seem small, but the lasting effects are crazy. It's dang near a lifetime.
It is.
It's a lifetime, whether it's a lifetime of trauma or a lifetime
Because
of blessings.
you also don't want to be in a situation to where you can't be the father that you thought you've always, wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you're dealing with someone that, yeah, I laid down her, but with her, I really didn't know her enough.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in a whole situation,
Yeah,
losing sleep
man,
over somebody you also created, regardless of the relationship with the lady, who you are as a man in your family and the dynamic that you desire,
facts. That's facts.
You don't want that for yourself. We see it every day. Men are on the internet losing their minds. Oh, I can't see my kid. I can't do this. I can't do that. Or the ones who don't want their kids at all because they
Facts.
made poor and irresponsible decisions. Choose wisely and don't fault yourself. Because like you said, there will be bad bitches everywhere. But a bad bitch can only be a bad bitch for so long.
Facts.
For real. And it can only get you so far.
Facts.
Period, point blank. Coming from a young lady in this generation. Oh, I know what you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about. And I
Mm-hmm.
know what y'all deal with.
Yeah. Hey.
For
Yeah.
real.
It's crazy out here. It's crazy
It
out
can only get you so far. And a baby will one day grow up to be an adult. They don't stay babies forever. They might be cute, but these are real humans who need real guidance to get to where they're
Guidance,
going
time,
in
and love.
life. Guidance, time, energy, resources, money.
And if you ain't got that to offer, you gotta
Just
think
because
about
you
that
a bad
before.
bitty in the city getting litty,
here.
baby, that don't
That
that's
don't
only gonna work so much. It might work in them photos, but it ain't working in real life.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
ain't.
So no.
That's
And I
real.
mean, same for us, people who are, desperately wanting love and thinking that they have to rush. Young ladies, we feel this way. Oh, we want to be married, we want to be this, but do we know what it really takes?
No, we see what we see on Instagram.
We
That's
see
it.
what we see on
That's it.
Instagram. You want somebody else's whole fairy tale. Nothing is a fairy tale.
That's not real, y'all.
That's
It's
not
not
real. That's
real.
not realistic. But they see that and they want it and they crave it, not knowing that you are thinking about something and you don't even know what you're really wanting. You know, you can't even decide on what you might want to do in a day,
Right.
let alone plan to have a whole family and then combine your role with somebody else. Just take your time. Take your time, enjoy your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, date, you can do all those things. You know, I'm not saying go out and be wild, but know what it is that you're asking for. Because some people will get it and they'll mishandle it.
Yeah.
Real.
And you know, I was reading this book. Is it on my I'll find it. But they were saying, you know, like if you're married by the age of 30, I think that your risk of like getting divorced is like greater. Like if you get married after 30, not saying this is for everybody, but sometimes, you know, you statistically speaking, you just missed out on, you know, not being divorced, your first marriage or something like that, if you get what I'm
Right.
saying. But also just being a college educated woman, talking to the men, dating guys. You know, they say we're less likely to get married, especially if you have a master's degree. That ain't stopping
Crazy.
nothing, though.
Right.
My
Ain't
sister was
stopping the
telling me
motion.
that, and she was like, "If you get a doctorate, that lowers it a lot more. And even if you do get married with that doctorate, dating within your race goes down drastically a lot more,
Exactly. Oh, I
which
believe it.
is
I
which
believe it because
yeah
we're intimidating. Oh, she's so intimidating
Right.
because she went to college.
Crazy.
Okay. I mean, that ain't never stopped nothing over this way. Like I said, I don't plan for that. Love is great, but I'm filled in other aspects of my life. Like to be honest, yes, I'm someone's girlfriend, but the centering man and still living my life based off of my terms while remaining respectful, not putting anything on hold just because I'm in fear that they may not want me because I might go get a doctorate degree or no.
Mm.
I'm still going to accomplish the things that
Yeah.
I set out to do because you don't know if that person will be there.
Right.
You know, I've been in a long-term relationship before. You back then you couldn't tell me nothing. Who's not
Yeah.
going to be together? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And look at today. So don't put your life on hold, but you can definitely have that around, and that's just my opinion, you know.
Mm.
But still live your life, do what you need to do, and just, you know, live life on your own terms and don't compare to other people because everything that glitter ain't gold. And we know that based off of social media.
yep
But don't set yourself up to be in some issue with somebody that you have to share, you know, the remainder of that, your life, child's
Yeah.
life, whatever, with forever. Yeah.
Forever's
yeah.
a mighty long time.
A lot of people always say don't lose yourself in a relationship, and with that, a great relationship, it adds value to your life.
Exactly.
It shouldn't consume your life. It should add value. So make sure that you are
Exactly.
still doing the things that you want to do and chasing the goals that you want to do because, like you said, everything ain't permanent. Everything ain't always gonna be there. So
Exactly.
do you really want
But
to
you
lose
are,
time?
and your livelihood is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fact.
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to keep your individuality with everything, though. I wish I would have known that at a younger age. I know the
Mm.
importance of it now. You know how they be like, oh, what you bring to the table, and this, and that, and
Yeah.
girls are like, oh, lip gloss in a purse or something like that.
I can cook,
and
You
you
know,
clean.
you know, I have my opinions,
Mm.
but as someone who comes from a teenage mom who had to rely, who needed, you know, my dad.
Mm.
That's something I never wanted to do. It will be great. It should add, but I do have what I, you know, built too, because no one will ever be able to take that from me. Not a man,
Right.
not a nothing. And I appreciate that, especially now where relationships are just so waxing and waning. You just never know. You just never know.
That's real.
So
So
yeah, you
speaking
gotta keep something for yourself.
speaking of just like your journey and just getting it on your own, making sure you going out there making boss moves, things of that nature. What's been your favorite part of your journey? What's been something that you're very fond of? You look back on and you smile.
Believe it or not, seeking help. seeking help and realizing, hey, I don't got this like the way I think I do.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to admit that and not be so prideful. Big lesson learned. Big lesson learned that everybody's going to need help at a point in time, even me. Even as
Mm-hmm.
hard as I go or the things that I do, some of that can definitely be like a facade that people keep up, to
Right.
show that you're not broken. That doesn't mean that you're, not broken just because it looks like you're not broken.
Right.
People lose their lives every day, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because they don't know when to ask for help. And as someone who has done a lot by themselves, I haven't done a lot by myself. You know what I'm saying? I've
Mm-hmm.
had I've had y'all on some days. And you don't even know if our interaction kept me going or not, but it did. And that's help too. Just talking, just reaching out instead of being secluded. So back then, like I said, if I never did that, I smile now. It was rough back then in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I smile now because if I would have never did that, who's to know where I would be today? Like I said, I probably would have dropped down and just was like, no, I can't do it on my own. So I can't go get the help that I need. I'm not listening to what they're telling me. I'm just going to, let it be what it is and give up on myself because that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
So that's the one moment that I smile back on. And I'm very appreciative of it all these years later. Now, about to be almost 5 years later.
Man, crazy how time is flying. What about you,
Yeah.
I'll be flying.
What about you? What about your journey?
I was two. One, taking a step back. Taking a step back to chase Delta. So like when I did take a step back from classes and I went to working with Delta, it was definitely a relaxer because I was challenging myself mentally. I was working, two jobs. I was a full-time student. I was in all these clubs and orgs, but it was just like it was consuming me at that point. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, and it was just like damn. And I got the offer with Delta, and it was like take a whole semester off. I'm like, if I do that, I'm gonna be late. I ain't gonna be that 4-year graduate that everybody's saying that that they won't, whatever. But I'm like, why not? Let's do it.
Best for you.
Gotta do what's best for me. I did it, and it was amazing. I got to travel, got to meet new people, got to build up my resume, got to build up my experiences. It's one of the best choices I made. And the second, I know it's very, very small, but finally doing that cooking business.
It's
I'm
not
so
small at all.
I'm so happy that he did that too.
It was because it could have been so much more major. Y'all don't understand. Like if I would have did that freshman year, my life would have been so different. But it
He
just
would have been
showed
in
me
Atlanta right now.
It just showed me.
Cooking.
It up.
I mean,
Send me your plate,
he
Chef
would have been at his
Mom.
restaurant, y'all.
It just showed me that if you put your mind to it, you could do it. It don't matter the results. It don't matter how small the results. A good result is a good result.
Period.
So those are my two. What you got?
For me, I would say making my switch at my major. For a while, like I was journalism for like 2.5 years. So for the majority of my time at Mizzou, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This, that, and the third. And I realized that my heart wasn't in it. I knew that I could really take it up a notch when it comes to my life by switching over. And I was nervous about it. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous on what everybody would think. I had all this fake pressure on me from my parents, from friends and whatnot, what everybody think of me, yada yada yada. But it came to a point where I realized that this is my life. I have to live it for me regardless, you know. And so making that switch really started me on this journey of actually doing what I love, doing something that 5, 10 years down the line, I'll be like, okay, this is what made me get to this level. This is what made me go so high up. Another thing will be starting this. I'm not gonna lie. Starting this podcast. For the longest of times, I was always, telling folks, man, well, I always had like these amazing conversations, always had amazing ideas, but I just never acted on it. I just let them be that, just idea, just a thought, let it pass by. But just having friends who reinforce this idea and help bring it to life, yeah, it started something amazing. You know, I get to talk to y'all. I get to reach out and impact people that I never thought I would have been able to. Um, and it's just crazy to see how far it's continuing to grow. You know what I'm saying? So I'll definitely say that's something else that I'm very, very glad that I started.
Man.
For sure.
Hey, shout out.
We made it.
We made it.
And we're gonna continue to make it. We're gonna get to where we're going.
For sure. For sure.
The growth. The growth. I wish we could put a picture of us from freshman year in here.
What's that? Back in what do they call it now? Back in the black hole at the table.
I mean the black hole. Oh my goodness. Folks don't know, man. Folks don't know.
Yeah, they don't. They will never know again either. So sad.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Sad world we live in.
But nah, you all heard it from us. You heard our journey. You heard our stories. You can always comment down your story. Matter of fact, send this to your mom. Send it to your friends. Maybe they can comment their stories too. Thank you. Thank you, Ty, for coming on with us.
Thank you.
Journey.
Oh, my pleasure.
Really appreciated it. We're your hosts, OG Molly Ma, Khalil Almighty, and we'll talk to you all later, only on The Almighty Show.